Day-to-day, it seemed like things really just like snapped into place for you halfway through the first half, and I mean the three started falling. Your jumper was on point. Did you feel something different happening, or was that just the product of repetitions?
Yeah, I really just say it was a product of repetition. I was feeling it a little bit. My teammates was finding me, and I was trying to move without the ball and continue to play within them and our team.
Dave, 14 blocks tonight. Just how important was it for you to impose your will as a team, and how important did you take it on yourself to be one of the leaders with that?
I take defense very serious. I've been out 6 months with knee surgery. I'm trying to get back into the offense and how the team plays. It's a new team. I gotta figure things out still, but I'm always gonna take defense seriously. And nothing ever changes with that. And I've done that for so long that it comes easy to me. And I take it upon myself to be that anchor that the team needs in the front court. And I'm happy that I was able to do my job tonight and do it well.
Hey, for either one of you guys, it doesn't matter. That was an emotional loss the other night. Was there any reservation at all about coming out tonight and strapping it on and just trying to put it to these guys?
Yeah, really just sending a message to ourselves, but excuse me, to everyone else. Just like you mentioned, it was an emotional loss, but we took this game forward to try and come and bounce back and just show that we can play. We can play out here with any team, and that was a game that we felt we shouldn't have lost, and we just try to come out here and play, give it our all this next game.
It was a very emotional loss. I felt like things were coming into how I say this. Things were looking good toward the end, and apparently at the end it didn't work out. But I want this game. This game was supposed to be a bounce back game. I had that in my mind. Like we're not going to lose this game. We're going to bounce back. This might be the only. I want this to be the only loss we ever have in non-conference. I want to win all the other games. And I told all the bigs that same thing myself. Like we shouldn't lose any more games.
Day-to-day, kind of a follow to my earlier question. Just when you see the posts battling and just getting blocks and just making so many momentum plays, how do you guys as guards kind of take that responsibility to just finish it on the other end?
Uh, really just seeing their tenacity and energy, their extra efforts to go and get those blocks, those rebounds for us and themselves and our team. Just seeing them work that hard, that makes me personally, and I'm assuming and I'm gonna guess our other guys as well, to just work hard and bind with them, try and just work as a team on the defensive end to just gel and make that defensive end a havoc for those other teams and guards, as well as those bigs.
David, coach said you've been trying to build back up from that knee surgery in the offseason. Just played 3 games in 5 days. How's the knee feeling?
It's tired. I'll say that much. But I'm ready to put it on the line for anything. I want to play. I like playing basketball. This is what I like to do, and you know, my knee's gonna hurt for the rest of my life, so I'm just gonna push through it.
So you've got 4 days off after this last week, so I'm sure that must feel like a whole vacation for you guys. What are some areas you guys are really going to look on improving during this break?
Um, Personally, um, I'm just gonna try and continue to polish my game, stay sharp, try not to let myself have a drop off, just to keep our team intact. And then as a team, I'm just try to keep the guys together and just make sure everybody's getting some type of work in and resting, definitely getting treatment, all that type of stuff, just to continue to take care of our bodies and make this season a longer one.
For myself, I want to work on being a better post player. As being this last game, we didn't have a whole lot of post work, and I felt like that was part of the reason why we lost. So I want to spend these 4 breaks resting my knee and also making sure I'm a better player in the post, so that my teammates like Dede, Jimmy, and Kareem don't have to work as hard to get bucks. They can just throw it to me, and I could contribute to the team.
Data, you don't want to make excuses, but obviously this has been a grind in every single way. When they cut it from 26 to 12, what did it say about you mentally to just push through that finish line, push through that last hurdle, that last test?
Excuse me. Just keep chopping wood, man. We know that we are, at the end of the day, playing against ourselves. Don't get me wrong, that was a really tough team, well coached. But at the end of the day, we go out and compete versus ourselves to make the game easier for us. We know that if we're in practice, we're gonna go harder, and practice gonna be harder than the game, so the game can come easy. So really, just fighting through that mentality, and just knowing that we are who we are. We know what we do. So just sticking to that realm and continuing to just gel together to go out there and keep our mental straight.
I mean, we played hard again, a little inconsistent. I mean, we're about 60%, I think, of what we can be. We got a long way to go yet. So we're just trying to survive and advance. You know, we played 4 games in 8 days, which is hard. So, you know, we'll take the win and move forward.
Keith, I have to ask about the 14 blocks tonight. Just the effort and the tenacity in the paint to just build off of each other, and just what you thought of that.
Well, I told Chabi, I said, I didn't think you were ever going to block a shot again. I said, damn, you know. So, I mean, those guys are capable. They're just trying to get back in condition after being out so long. You know, they're talented guys. I mean, I told Dixon, I said, I don't know if they were interviewing you on the radio because you made 5 turnovers out of the 11 we made, or if the 5 blocks. So once we cleaned his head up a little bit, I think he's a pretty talented guy, both those guys. Throw the ball to the same color uniform as you have, right? That's the key to the game.
David just talked about how he wants to improve his post presence so that the offense isn't relying on the 3 guards to get the ball into the paint. How much is that something that you're really emphasizing with him in terms of, filling out the offense?
So we got to give David a lot of credit. Like, he didn't do anything for 6 months, right? And really hardly practiced. And he's just so athletic that he can come out here and just play on his athleticism. But he's just scratching the surface. He's got to get healthy, got to get in better shape. But he can score inside and play outside. He just has to focus in a little bit, which, again, part of the mistakes is he's not in great shape. And he didn't get to practice. Chabi, too. And with Trey Williams out, we have to play those guys a lot, which in the long run is going to help us. You know, short term, it probably hurts us a little bit.
Okay, so did you feel like you had to worry about if these guys were going to come back after an emotional win or emotional loss?
They've had very few days in practice where I've had to push them. I thought emotionally they were happy. We didn't practice yesterday. We just watched tape. But the walkthrough today, we got at it pretty good. We have good people. I mean, like any family, there's some issues here and there. I think the biggest issue with our team, quite frankly, is playing time. You know, I think when you have 8 seniors and 8 I don't know how many grad students, but 1 million of them, you know, the guys that are used to playing more than they're playing, that's always difficult. It's difficult for them. So, like, I feel for them. But, you know, we got some good young kids, too. Like, you know, Jakob is a good, solid player, and Kalon, you know, I give Kalon a lot of credit because he didn't really get anything. But he was ready to play when we played him the last couple times we played him. And, you know, that doesn't even include Matoush. Matoush is a good player, too. So, like, we're on the verge of having 11 unhappy people all the time because they're all playing less than they really want to play for the most part. It's hard.
You were able to give all 3 of the guards a little bit extra rest tonight. Was that part of the plan because of the schedule, or was that an opportunity that arose because of the score?
Well, we have to play them less. Like, if we don't play them less, then we're not going to play well at the end of the year. And we have good enough players that there's no reason to play them more. You know, the comfort with them, the the thing with Jimmy and Day is when they're on the floor, they can explode at any time. But in the long run, we're better off to get them out of there and, just realize that it's the law of diminishing returns, really, when they're out there too long. So they're going to make a bad play defensively or they're going to make a mistake, so it makes no sense when you have good players to play them as much as we've played them.
Keith, you touched on Jakob a little bit a couple of answers ago. It wasn't just the scoring, but his ability to stretch the floor, and it seemed like the more he played, the more he got his legs under him. As he continues to nurse and navigate, just how can these 20 minutes and this kind of stretch of confidence help him?
I mean, he's a little bit inconsistent shooting the ball at times. He's a really good passer. He's got a big brain, really smart, and he's long and he's hard to shoot over. So now you're playing a 6'9" guy at the small forward spot, so now there's more rim protection even with him. And he's quick enough to guard smaller guys. So he's just scratching the surface as well. The other thing about him is he's a straight professional. Like he trains like a professional. And you could tell he was around those European pro teams because there's no ands, ifs, or buts. He knows how to be a pro. And so I think he's just scratching the surface as well. I think you're going to see a really good player at some point of his career. And he certainly can contribute this year. It's already pretty noticeable, right? He's never going to have unbelievable statistics, I don't think. But when he plays, he makes very few mistakes. Now, he made a couple the other night. But, again, he's so smart that we had him playing on the scout team and gave him no reps, which was a mistake on our part. Anybody else?
Keith, in the stretch, 3-1 overall. Obviously, you haven't watched the film in this one, but from the 4 games, just what do you feel you were happiest with, and what do you feel is the biggest growth area?
I think we're good in transition. Like we have to try to figure out ways to get in transition even more, but our half-court game has to improve. We have to get better. I thought we made some strides defensively. At times today we came to the ball a little bit better. We got to be more consistent there. It's all going to, how great we can become will be determined by how we can score the ball inside before we're done, and who's going to do it. So right now, we're kind of hit and miss a little bit there. So I think that's an area that we're going to have to, if we can improve there and then continue to improve our knowledge and our system knowledge, then I think we can get a lot better. If we don't, we'll still be pretty formidable, but not as good as we should be.
You're going to get 4 days off here, which must feel like a month given the last week that you've just gone through. Any big plans for you and the team?
We're going to take tomorrow off and then get ready for Nebraska. And then we have a good stretch, right? We got about a week, I think, after Nebraska. Is that right? Right. And so, we'll give them a couple of days for Thanksgiving, and then we'll try to get better in the areas that we think we need to. We'll work on our full court pressure. I think we're going to work hard on that. We haven't trapped much. I think we can be good trapping. I think we'll work, we'll play some zone in practice. Now, that remains to be seen if we'll ever play any in the game, but we'll play some zone in practice. We'll keep trying to develop our inside game and playing through double teams. So there's a lot of things for us to work on, really. And then guarding the ball. We'll just continue to work hard on guarding the ball and coming to the ball and then fixing mistakes. I think it sounds kind of basic, but the better you guard the ball, the better you're going to play. So they'll get some time, but they won't get a lot. But, clearly we need time right now. We have not been able to practice. We played so much, we haven't been able to really practice. So we flowed a little bit better today because we worked on it today a little bit, but we haven't been able to really work on some things that we need to work on. So we'll use that time to really kind of hone in on that. Good? Good.